Hey guys, Savat the Mighty here, and I'm back with another Eve Echoes video. So as you can see, some pretty bad news about the Rokh and the Maelstrom, huh? That's not fun. Man, it's gonna be a while before we see those guys. But on the plus side, we do get to see a couple other ships coming out soon. And that leads into today's video. So if you do like my content, please leave a like on the video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you want to be notified whenever I do release new content in the future. Alright, with that out of the way, let's jump into today's video. So today we're going to be taking a look at the newly christened Tier 9 Raven. So, if you were using missiles and you were looking for a ship to come out on T9 that wasn't one of the other ones, then now you have the option of picking the Raven. So if you like Caldari, you want to be into that battleship, you want to use missiles, this might be the ship for you. Let's take a look and see what it has. Alright, so for large missile torpedo operation bonus, you're going to get plus 5% large missile torpedo damage per level, minus 5% large missile torpedo activation time per level, and plus 5% large missile torpedo velocity per level. For battleship command bonus, you're going to get plus 5% flight velocity, again per level, and its skills out of the box are going to be an overall defense of 61,583, flight velocity of 112, warp speed of 2, power grid output of 8,808 megawatts, capacitor of 8,462 gigajoules, and a cargo hold capacity of 1,330 M3. And this tank is meant to be a shield tank, and we'll look at that when we talk about the defenses on this ship. So how did I figure I would fit out this ship? So when I took a look at the bonuses and everything that it gets a whole bunch of damage bonuses and also leads into the range a little bit. So what I figured is you could have a mid to long range ship fit with this that would work. So that being said, I wanted to take a look at just what your regular large missiles would do on this ship. All right. So we have 7 slots here for the high slots, and I fit them all with Pith C-type large missile launchers. If we look at this here, what we're looking at is with this fit, your missile range is going to be 121 km. They have a flight time of 16.8 seconds, an explosion radius of 227 m, an explosion velocity of 69 m per second, an activation time of 9.7 seconds. Pretty slow to fire. Okay. For the mid slots, to make up for the missiles there, I actually have 2 Haley target painters. The Haley target painters have an accuracy fall off of 90 and an optimal range of 36 km. Well, if you look at that, that looks like it's going to be around 126 km for 50%. So 2 of them will do the job of 1. And also, if you look at our missile range, 121 km. So we should be within that range, so these target painters should be useful. I had a bit of concerns for the other 2 mid slots because this does get 2 more. I thought perhaps I could just put 2 target painters in there, 2 more, and have a total of 4. And we could use 4 to kind of have the power of 2 target painters, which may be something I would advise, especially if you're comfortable fighting the way you do. But just for the purposes of this, I decided to throw in there a Predator Stasis Webifier and also a Predator Warp Scrambler. These are here in case anything does get close to me. I can slow them down, grab them, make them move even slower, hit them with the missiles, also for the drones to do their work as well. I have 1 Mark 9 Ogre in here. The Ogre is just because I had it lying around, and I also have a Mark 9 Vespa. I would probably use 2 medium drones because, again, when you're fighting at this range, the only thing that's really going to get close to you is going to be frigates, and those frigates you probably want to destroy using the drones, but I mean, heck, it can fit a large drone, so I threw one in there. Hopefully we won't have to put that to the test. For the low slots, which this has 6 of, we have in here 3 Pitham C-type ballistic control systems. We also have 1 Gist C-type adaptive invulnerability field. And let me go ahead and check these to make sure I didn't put any eagles. Got it. Perfect, perfect. And we also have a Centis C-type large shield booster. This is to get our shield hit points back, as this is a shield tank. And it gets C-type large micro warp drive. The micro warp drive should give us that bit of a boost so we can try to keep our range if need be. Now this ship capacitor is only at 3 minutes and 28 seconds. We're going to kind of put that to the test because we shouldn't be running all of the stuff all of the time. So if we're not running all of the stuff all of the time, I think it should do pretty well, especially at those distances. For rigs, in the bottom slots, we have 3 semiconductor memory cell 3s, and that is just to help us with that capacitor multiplier. These might be able to be changed out for something, to target faster or whatnot. Kind of to your discretion there. All right, we also have in the combat slots, we have a hydraulic bay thrusters, which gives us our flight velocity adjustment of a 12.5%, making our missiles go that little bit further. Yes. We have a bay loading accelerator for activation time, 12.5%, and a warhead calefaction catalyst, all level 3s, for a damage bonus of 17.5%. This gives our missiles a raw damage of 1,744.8 DPS with maximum skills. That is pretty impressive, but as we know, missiles don't apply their damage so well to smaller ships, so we're going to see exactly what that's going to look like when we take it out there. I hope it's going to be pretty good, but we'll find out. The defense on this ship, it does have 91,900 with 32,482 shield hit points, EM resistance of 0, thermal resistance of 28, kinetic resistance of 40, and explosive resistance of 50. And the armor hit points, it has 22,577 with an EM resistance of 50, thermal of 45, kinetic of 25, and explosive of 10. And for its structure hit points, it has 22,889 with 33% resistances across the board. We did already talk about the offense. The full offense on the ship is 1,831.29 with 86.49 of it coming from the drones. But again, hopefully those will never come into play. Its capacitor lasts for 3 minutes and 28 seconds with everything running. Capacitor recharge rate is minus 47.73 gigajoules, or minus 139.1%. It's really using all that capacitor, almost 1.5 times. Capacitor capacity is 12,376 gigajoules, with a recharge time of 902 seconds. Targeting, this ship can target, well, I apologize, we'll go into that in a second. Radar sensor strength is 29 points, scan resolution 176, signature radius 368, max lock targets is 8. Before we go any further, the power grid in this ship, with all level 5s, is 13,212, so lots of wiggle room, kind of like all the other battleships. Navigation. It's sitting here at 203 speed with a warp prep time of 11.65 seconds, and that warp speed is 2. That is one of the changes that they made. Battleships now have a warp speed of 2. But okay, so that's the stats on the ship. Let's go ahead and take this out and see how it does. Okay, so here we are at the Cosmic Anomaly. Let's go ahead and take a look at all the stuff we normally take a look at. And by that, we're going to start moving, first of all. And we're going to activate our armor hardener, or shield hardener in this case. And we're going to activate the micro warp drive. Let's have a quick look here. So under our defense, we're looking at an EM resistance of 36, thermal of 54, kinetic of 62, and explosive of 68. Now for our navigation, we're moving at 1,238.26. So with the micro warp drive, this ship can get up there and do some pretty high speeds. Let's go ahead and warp in. There we go. It's going to warp in at 100. Our Stargate here is Valentine. Valente name. One of the things to keep in mind is missiles do not have a fall off range, so if you are over that 121, well, you're in for a bad time. Missiles are also a little bit tricky, as sometimes they have an issue where they just don't seem to explode. So this ship, you could definitely increase the range, get a whole lot farther out. You could add some more of the rigs in there for the range extension, the fuel cache and whatnot, and you can get the range really up there. But for the purposes of staying in target painter range, we kind of wanted to sit here, and this ship can have a pretty decent tank on it, And I don't mean like it's over tanked or anything like that. I just mean that it actually has a hardener, and it's using a booster instead of a bunch of this is an interesting thing. They spawned below me. Approach that. Zoom out here a little bit. Okay. So we do have our other ships over there. I really don't want to be targeting this guy first. Let's take out the little ships. Let's get them blasted. We know this thing's going to do a ton of damage to the big ships, as you were already seeing there. We're getting some pretty big numbers. Okay. So I like this change as well. It's telling us how much damage each one of the actual groupings that we have down here is doing. So if we focus fire on the next target, and let's go ahead and activate one of these and take a look at our fitting. Up to 2,233 damage with one active. You should be able to cycle out these and pretty much have that being done just about all the time. So you're looking at 1,000 DPS, not DPS, 1,000 damage per triple volley on these guys for the smaller ships. That's not great. I'm going to say that right away. Not great at all. But once we start getting into the bigger ships, that should be a whole lot more damage. Okay. What are we looking at here? 4,000. That doesn't seem that great either. That doesn't seem that great at all. Weird, it doesn't even feel like this thing's moving, really. Stop here. Alright, so now we're into the battle cruisers. The battle cruisers... Let's see. Give me a volley. Show me what you can do. $8,900. Okay. And 8,900 is not bad. 11,000, that's pretty good. So it is actually doing some good stuff. And look here, with our damages activated, if we're doing it one at a time, we're pretty much ready. We're doing good. You could probably cycle those out and have them up nearly all the time. Now, mind you, that's a little bit misleading, because I do believe you're going to get bonuses to those for all of the different skills. Alright, against another battleship, it's launching some damage. I believe that total volley was like 11k. Oh yeah. Okay. Let's start approaching again. These guys are actually out of range. So let's stop. Start locking up the little targets here first. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. Let's see what happens to him. Absolutely nothing. 281. Oh, that's disgusting. That is doing literally no damage to him. So the fast ships with the micro warp drives, you're not hurting. You're gonna have to depend on Yeah, you're gonna have to depend on stopping them when they get close to you, because you really don't have anything that's gonna be able to do much to them. Lock up the rest of these ships since we do have up to 8 locks. So one of the biggest faults of this ship is these tiny, that destroyer is just, it's coming at us. It doesn't care, and we're not doing any damage to it. None whatsoever. I mean, mind you, we're eventually going to kill it, but if you were in a tougher mission and you had to rely on that before they actually got to you, then you're in a world of hurt. Okay, so now that they're getting closer, we can lock them up, scram them, and we should start doing some decent damage again now that it's not moving. One of the weird things about missiles, you actually want the smaller ships to get to you so you can lock them down and do those things. Okay. Move into the next target here. We're going to go ahead and activate our next damage as well. We want to keep that damage flowing. So even on these small ships here, I mean, we're at 2,233 DPS, and that's going to be reduced by a ton, just a ton, because these ships are moving and they're tiny. So there's another thing to be said about it as well. Instead of increasing our damage further to get those big chunky hits off on those battleships, we might think about actually putting in some of the stuff to mitigate some of these smaller ships, mitigate the there, kind of like we did when we were taking a look at the other missile boat. But that one had it baked into the ship already. So with it being baked in and double stacking on it, it did actually make the torpedoes work very well. I was hoping we would get some type of similar thing with the large missiles here, which we are. I mean, honestly, it's having a tough time with the frigates and the destroyers, but ultimately it should. And the whole thing is you are staying at pretty much a good range that shouldn't really ever issue. The thing with that, though, is if you're trying to take this out versus tier 10s, for example, tier 10s, you are going to have smaller ships that are going to be rushing you down like that. And if you can get a whole bunch of them around you, that could be kind of devastating. But again, at the same time, if you're so far out already, you should have plenty of time to be able to kill them. It's not like this ship is running without a tank. This is probably one of the tankier long-range fits that I have. So again, another thing that I would consider, instead of the capacitor control circuits or anything like that in there, using the rigs that are going to decrease your lock-on time might be more helpful. Maybe having the rigs in there to prevent you from getting warp scrammed as well, especially once they have the tier 4s of those out. Grab a couple in, you can get yourself some 4 warp strength apiece. Pop 2 of those in there. One ship isn't going to be able to scram you very well. At least for the purposes of rats and whatnot, you might even be able to have a couple of them on you. Before this expires, let's look and see what our damage is with all of them active. 3,092. So if you really wanted to, you could just do some insane burst with this. Actually makes them fire pretty fast too. Look at those things go. Shooting off volleys here and there. What is the activation time? We only got 2 of them activated now, but 6.59. Wow, with 2 activated. That's pretty good. Looks like this guy is getting out of our range. So let's approach him a little bit. He is fleeing. So we can't actually hit him from out here, which is a shame. One of those things I needed to pay closer attention to. stop here. Just go ahead and activate our damage mod and keep our DPS over that 2000 threshold. Yeah, so Raven is doing quite a bit of work from out here at these ranges. Oof. It's pretty crazy. Okay. So we're going to do the same thing again. We are going to take a look at the ships here, lock up all the smaller ones, and then see if we can't go about getting them deaded before they get to us. But I don't think that's going to be the case. Take that. Yeah, everything else is a pretty far way away. Yeah, this thing is doing no damage. You have a test drone coming in right after him. That's the frigate. This is one of those things we might even just want to lock up the rest of these guys and fight them. And there's really no purpose in hitting these guys until they get closer. Let's just fire off a volley that way. If we get this ship down first, before this guy even gets over here. Got 2 volleys off in the air on him. Trying to wait till about 15, 16. There we go. Oh, you webbed me. 4,000. More like it. There was a volley in the air that killed the other guy where we were targeting him. Damn. So this guy's not moving quite as fast as the other ones were. I'll get here in a minute. And our buddy's sitting over there at 101 km. He might be a pain to deal with too. I don't think he's really moving though, so... Well, what can I say? We're not really moving. Oh yeah, let's stop him now. And he should die. Oof. Activate. Okay. Yeah, the smaller ships definitely are the bigger threat with these missiles here, but you can sit pretty far out. Oh, like, watch. Hey, we're good. Okay, test drone. This is the cruiser. Cruiser's gone. So the other ship that got moved over to tier 9 is the Tempest. The Tempest is here at tier 9 as well. So that's a thing. I'll have to take a look at that ship next, I guess. Take a look and see if it's going to be one of the ships for tier 9 that you might pique your interest. We will have another versus video out soon as well. I just kind of saw the news here, so I wanted to take a look at the Raven. We hadn't looked at the Raven before, even though I personally have looked at the Raven. I just never actually released a video on it. So I figured this would be a good time since the Raven is moving to tier 9, and if you are excited about that tier 9 coming very soon, then this might be one of the ships you wanted to check out. It does look like it's going to be able to do some very long-range fighting and be very effective with it too. And have a pretty decent build on it. Is it going to be the best at the long-range game? No, it's definitely not the best. However, if you are going missiles and you want to be that complete safe and still be able to apply damage at all times, and not have to worry too terribly much if ships get under your guns, because unlike the guys with turrets, kind of want them to get there. You're like, oh, you're a tiny ship, huh? Come over here. Let me hand deliver you this missile. As long as you do have the gear to actually stop them in their tracks. 3092 from missiles. Not a bad DPS. Oof. 12,000 hit there. Pretty awesome. Another 12,000 hit. We're just peppering this guy. So for the battleships, it really does brutalize them. So, hey, say what you will. This is the Raven. New and improved? Question mark? Why don't you let me know what you think about the changes? And again, if you didn't know, the changes are the Tempest and the Raven are now tier 9, and the Rokh and the Maelstrom have been adjusted to tier 10. Alright, cool. That's it for the video today. Thanks, guys. I hope you liked everything, and I will see you in the next video.